Biden administration said they're working towards developing a new nationwide vaccine passport standard.
Vaccine passports would be a form of ID to gain entry to certain businesses or cultural events that require patrons to be vaccinated. Proponents of vaccine passports say they could be key to reopening communities. Opponents, though, they raise constitutional and medical privacy issues.
This is literally the end of human liberty in the West. It's not about the vaccine. It's not about the virus. It's about your data. And once this rolls out, you don't have a choice about being part of the system. What people have to understand is that any other functionality, it can be merged with your PayPal account, with your digital currency. This violates the Americans with Disabilities Act. It violates HIPAA. It violates the First Amendment. It violates the Fourth Amendment. Your networks can be sucked up. It geolocates you everywhere you go. Your credit history can be included. All of your medical history can be included.
Your records will be encrypted on a QR code, like a barcode that is unique to you.
Some believe a vaccine passport could be the key to jump-starting travel and leisure activities. The push coming from the United Kingdom, which is proposing an internationally recognized document to the G7, a group which includes the United States and Canada.
Our governor and the state are incentivizing stores throughout the state, saying they can reopen in greater capacities and more fully if they adopt a digital vaccine passport. And the essence of the passport is you need to hold up your phone with the QR code in order to gain entry to the business and have service at that business. So what it would do essentially is set up a two-class system where people who had the passport could go to Trader Joe's, go to the movies, go bowling, go to Disneyland, go to a concert, go to their kids' swim class. And those who did not have the passport could potentially be denied entry. But what they're actually doing at the county level is they're enabling the vaccination sites to set up the technology. And they're setting the technology in place. And then you've got the state coming through the back door saying, well, we're not going to mandate the passport, but we are going to sweeten the pot for the stores who adopt the passport and deny entry to citizens and say they can open or have more privileges than the stores who refuse to do the passport system. We have seen clearly through the lens of history where this leads, and it is nowhere good. And that is one of the reasons that so many organizations have been coming out in recent weeks saying, we're not going to do vaccine passports. It is fundamentally unconstitutional. It's unconscionable, really, at the end of the day. And there is no place in 2021 for such a system.
From the perspective of the legislatures, they're going to do whatever they want to do, regardless of the pushback from the citizens. And it's been because there are so few citizens pushing back. If you have one person, two people, three people at the County Board of Supervisors resisting, you have one person, two people, three people at the City Hall resisting, or the school board meeting, they can ignore you. But if you have a collaborative, if you have hundreds of people that are turning out to say, I'm not okay with this, they're forced to listen to you. That's what America was established on. America is a nation where it's by the people, it's for the people. And if the people are so indoctrinated with this idea that the government is working for them and that we're supposed to submit to the government, they kind of get lethargic and you start accumulating things and you assume America is a place where you're supposed to enjoy capital. But in reality, America is a place where you have a responsibility to preserve the nation. We have to preserve this nation. The Constitution is one of the greatest documents in the world because we have the freedom to disagree. So you can be the right, left, center, doesn't matter. But without the Constitution, there will be a time where you're mandated to believe something that you disagree with. Therefore, we need to preserve this and educate our youth to understand the value of this.
So as vaccine mandate deadlines approach, many people are about to find themselves unemployed. What people who choose not to get vaccinated against COVID-19 can do to find a new job.
My name is Tawny Bittner. I am a pediatric cardiovascular intensive care nurse. I've worked at an institution for the past 12 and a half years here in San Diego. I absolutely loved what I did. Unfortunately, the institution decided to institute a policy that anyone who's unvaccinated cannot be in a patient-facing position, which means that I would no longer be able to care for the population of children in my community that I've cared for my whole nursing career. And so for a hospital institution to say that your work and everything that you've put into your work doesn't matter was a huge insult for many of us. When you have an entity that has a lot of lobbying power to be able to coax the government into saying, if you use this specific product, you can reduce healthcare costs, the government's going to jump on that. So, of course, one of the things that has happened is the huge lobbying that has gone on, and this kind of incestuous relationship between pharma and the CDC has created this idea that if you vaccinate everyone, you're going to reduce healthcare costs. And so you relinquish your sovereignty of your body and who you are over to a government entity that is in collusion with a corporate entity that is making money and has no liability. What these pharmaceutical companies are able to do is this massive study on a grand scale on this new technology, and what our government is doing is saying that you have to be a part of this study if you want to be able to participate in society. And that is what is going on with these vaccine mandates.
I think we really need to make it clear that there are privileges associated with being an American, that if you wish to have these privileges, you need to get vaccinated.
So we won't reach herd immunity because of those particular groups. So I say we need to shun those that refuse to get vaccinated.
The people who are not getting vaccines, who are believing the lies on the internet instead of science, it's time to start shaming them. What else? Or leave them behind. Stop it with the ignorance. And we have to stop saying, oh, well, you have to listen to people and no, you don't. These people are being harmful to the greater good. You don't have to listen to a minority of people who are being harmful to the greater good and who are not acting on logic, reason, and science.
So let's start with our inalienable rights, which we have rights given to us by God, given to us by the Constitution, which state that we're free human beings. All right, so we have the right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. We have control over our own bodies. No one can tell us what to do with our bodies. This is the law of the universe. This is the law of the Constitution. And what's happened is very subtly, over a number of years, they have taken away this notion that you have any rights at all. And their coup de grace was to come in and say, oh my God, there's an emergency, we're all gonna die, we have got to do this thing, and it's gonna protect everybody. And everybody went, well, if we're gonna die, well then we better do it. And what nobody realized is that, yeah, that's not the way it works. It's just not the way the universe works. It's not the way we work as human beings. And the purpose of everything, the creation of this problem we're in right now, it was all for the purposes of control. This notion that somehow they're winning or how much longer is this going to go on, it's a fallacy, because the fact is we are winning, and we're winning by virtue of the fact that we're just speaking the truth every day. And the truth always wins, the cream always rises to the top. And everything they're doing is a magic trick. It's a bluff. And as we call their bluff, they lose a little bit of power every single day.
I think this is one of the greatest times to be alive. I think that tyranny exists only to help us remember that freedom is actually the highest value of humanity. And here we are, finding ourselves, at the cusp of something called a vaccine passport. You're seeing Hollywood, you're seeing music artists, you're seeing athletes, you're seeing the virtue signaling from all the people, but it's becoming trendy. The amplification of the pressure from your peers, from your bosses, is higher than ever. I told people recently that I will lose my license. I will give up my license. I will practice without a license. I will do all the things that I can within and without the law to stand up for people's freedom at this stage, especially knowing that my practice and all healthcare worker settings are targeted at this stage. And now at this stage, you can see why they've operationalized and why they've, in my opinion, weaponized censorship. And the passport is the thing, in my opinion, it's the holy grail where we don't go back to a free society if that passport is implemented. So censorship is becoming the norm, and the media, the mainstream media, created a whole campaign that forced us into believing that censorship was the right way to go. And all of a sudden, you create that polarized society. And what's happened today is those real life experiences don't matter anymore. If, say it is a vaccine injury, say it is severe coercion from, the medical industry, say it is like some sort of just complete lack of what we call informed consent, which is just having all the risk, benefits, alternatives, and what if you did nothing, having the full picture before you made a decision. Just providing that conversation is and has become absolutely unacceptable by these now tech media empires. And you recognize that they're afraid of me? How are they afraid of my account? Why does my account mean that much? And it's because what happens is if you put enough of these accounts, enough of these posts, enough of these stories, enough of these comments together, you recognize that there's a house of cards that's at stake, that if they don't protect, the whole thing comes tumbling down. If you feel the call in your heart that this is the time in history for you to step up, it's because it is, and it's because we know that this is the right side of history to be on.
Let 'em sing hallelujah to our King.